But ain't nobody said nothing about the kid, though.
Somebody did say something about the kid.
No, she said very clearly, she's talking about the wife. She's not talking about the children.
No,
even though
she said child. She said child.
She said child. She said child.
So
She said Martell needs a DNA test.
Martell need to go get a test.
That's what I didn't hear.
Why are you talking about it then?
If you want to mention somebody other than who you talking to, I think I'm talking about what I want to say. Hey, man, get the hand down. Get the hand down. Get the hand down.
This scene was crazy. Marceau, you had no business trying to fight with Martell, especially when Martell was talking about the truth. The discussion was heated, but honestly, your ass was wrong defending Miss Wanda. Miss Wanda really has been talking about the kids, and I feel like at this point, you should have focused on Letitia instead of fighting with Martell. Let me all know what you think in the comments.
Have you ever been watching Love and Marriage, Huntsville, and suddenly had to hit pause, rewind, and play a scene again just to make sure you heard it right? That's exactly what happened when Martell Holt dropped a bomb that left fans speechless and the entire cast on edge. What Martell revealed wasn't just shade or a small rumor. It was a shocking claim that could shake Marceau Scott and Letitia to their core, putting their marriage, the very thing they've built their brand on, under fire. Now, this wasn't just a little gossip tossed around during an argument. No, this time Martell came forward saying he had actual receipts. He claimed to have evidence in the form of a tape, one that supposedly revealed secrets, cheating, and truths the Scotts never wanted the world to see. And the fallout from that moment has been one of the wildest storylines the show has ever given us. But let's slow down for a second, because to understand why this was so explosive, you have to look at Martell's history. Martell has never been a stranger to controversy.
Like what? I don't understand. Like what?
Okay. I'm gonna do it.
A lot of times, Tisha hears things about Marceau she probably already know. She just don't want you to know. Because then, the more people know, the more she might have to do something about it. Almost how Melody had to do, you know? That's why I try to keep whatever Marceau and I done in the past with women and places we've gone, things we've done, people we shared. Him after me, though.
From his painful divorce from Melody Sherry to his constant back and forth with Ariane Curry, drama follows him everywhere. He's the type of cast member who, when the spotlight gets too hot on him, will turn it around by exposing somebody else's mess. And over the years, he has taken shots at almost everyone: Kimmy, Maurice, Marceau, you name it. But this time, Marceau and Letitia were his main targets, and Martell claimed he wasn't just talking. He had proof. That's when things really got messy. According to Martell, the tape showed that Marceau had not been faithful to Letitia. Now, let's be real, rumors about Marceau's cheating have been floating around since the early seasons of the show. Anytime there was a heated argument or a reunion special, somebody would throw it out there. Social media comments have buzzed with it for years. And every time, Marceau brushed it off with a laugh, a joke, or some sarcastic remark that made it look like the whole thing was silly. But here's the difference: this time Martell isn't an outsider speculating. He has been in these people's homes. He has shared dinners, trips, and friendships with them. He knows their lives up close. So when he says he has receipts, it hits differently. Fans started asking themselves, could Martell actually know something we don't? And Martell didn't stop at Marceau. He turned the spotlight on Letitia, too. He suggested that she hasn't been as loyal as everyone thinks. He even hinted that she might have had a relationship with one of his close friends. Now just think about how explosive that is. Letitia has built her whole public image on being the loyal wife, the woman who stands by her husband no matter what. She's the one holding her family together. When Martell went after her, it wasn't just about her marriage, it was an attack on her entire reputation. Fans online went wild. Some people started digging up old clips from past seasons, pointing out moments they thought were suspicious but had been ignored. Others were furious at Martell for dragging Letitia into the mess. And some just sat there stunned, wondering if they were witnessing the beginning of the end for the Scotts. And then there's the infamous trip to Africa. Who could forget that? Marceau went all the way across the world alone. No wife, no kids, just him. And the timing couldn't have been worse. He was already facing cheating rumors, and then he decides to take a solo trip? Even cast members like Melody and Kimmy raised their eyebrows and asked questions. Of course, Letitia defended him, saying he needed the trip for himself. But let's be honest, a lot of fans saw that as a red flag. Now that Martell has brought everything back up with this so-called tape, fans are starting to connect the dots again. And the picture doesn't look good. Through all of this, Letitia has been Marceau's fiercest defender. She has shut down rumors, confronted other cast members, and even fought with Melody over the accusations. And let's not forget her mother, Miss Wanda, who has jumped into countless battles to protect her daughter and her son-in-law's reputation. But this time, it's different. Because Martell isn't just whispering rumors, he's claiming he has receipts. He doubled down and teased that he had actual proof. That's where it gets dangerous. Because let's not forget Martell has pulled this stunt before. Remember that reunion when he ran out to his car claiming he had evidence on his phone? Everyone leaned forward, waiting for him to reveal it, and then nothing. He came back with excuses, saying it wasn't the right time. So the question now is Martell bluffing again, or does he finally have something real? Letitia has called him out on this pattern, saying if he really had proof, he would have released it long ago. And she might be right. But then again, Martell has a history of showing just enough truth to cause chaos. Sometimes he lies. Sometimes he exaggerates. But sometimes he drops just enough reality to blow everything wide open. That's why people can't just dismiss him completely. And let's not ignore the fact that Martell has his own mountain of problems. He's locked in a custody battle with Melody. His businesses have been struggling. His public image has taken hit after hit. So it's not hard to believe that he might be stirring the pot with the Scotts just to shift attention away from himself. But the detail in his accusations makes it harder to brush off. If even a fraction of what he's saying is true, it could completely change how fans see Marceau and Letitia. Marceau's silence hasn't helped either. Normally, he's quick with a joke or some witty comeback. This time? Not so much. And in reality TV, silence is dangerous. When you don't speak up, people assume you're hiding something. Fans have already started to whisper that maybe there's more to the story than he wants to admit. Meanwhile, Letitia is juggling a lot. She's raising kids, working on her real estate businesses, and trying to build her own independence. In recent seasons, she's been stepping into her own more, focusing on her personal growth. Some fans see it as natural progress, while others wonder if she's quietly preparing herself for life without Marceau. Because financial independence isn't just about growth, it can also be a safety net if things at home start falling apart. And we can't ignore how Melody might feel about all this. She knows firsthand how damaging Martell's accusations can be. She's lived through his lies, his public humiliations, and the way he twists private matters for the world to see. Watching the Scotts go through it now must feel all too familiar for her. Kimmy, too, doesn't need any more chaos. She's been focused on her health and rebuilding her family life. But Martell's Bombshell has a way of pulling everyone back into the drama. And then there's Miss Wanda. You know she won't stay quiet. If Martell keeps pushing this story, she will jump in swinging verbally, of course to protect her daughter. But even with all her energy and defense, sometimes doubt lingers once it's been planted. So here's the real question. What happens if Martell's tape has even a grain of truth? Could it push Letitia to finally break? Could it force Marceau to reveal secrets he's kept hidden? Or could the Scotts come out stronger, determined to prove Martell wrong once and for all? At this point, there are only two possible outcomes. Either this tape tears them apart, or it forces them to unite like never before. But the longer Marceau stays quiet, the more people lean toward the first option. And that's what makes this moment bigger than just reality TV drama. It's about trust, loyalty, and image. Letitia has worked for years to present a strong marriage and a stable family. If that picture cracks, it won't just affect her relationship, it will affect her businesses, her reputation, and the way fans see her as a wife and mother. For Marceau, his whole brand is being the confident, funny, successful businessman who doesn't get rattled. if Martell's claims start to gain traction, that image could crumble, too. And that's why this tape, real or not, is so dangerous. At the end of the day, this whole situation isn't just about a tape, or even about Martell stirring the pot again. It's about what happens when trust inside a marriage gets tested in front of the whole world. Marceau and Letitia have spent years building an image of strength, partnership, and loyalty. But one accusation, whether it's true or not, has the power to shake that foundation. Fans are split. Some believe Martell is lying to shift attention away from his own mess. Others think there must be something behind his words, because Martell has a habit of mixing truth with drama. Either way, the damage is already done. Once doubt is planted, it's hard to erase. And that's what makes this moment so painful for Letitia. She has stood by her husband through every rumor, every reunion fight, and every online comment. But the more Martell pushes, the harder it becomes for her to carry that weight alone. For Marceau, silence might seem like the best way to ignore the drama, but silence can also sound like guilt to fans who are watching closely. So, what happens next? Do the Scotts finally confront these rumors head-on and put everything on the table? Or will the silence, the whispers, and the doubt eat away at their bond? Because on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, one thing is certain: the truth never stays hidden for long. No matter how this plays out, the Scotts are standing at a crossroads. Either this scandal tears them apart, or it forces them to fight harder than ever to prove their love is real. And trust me, the world will be watching every single move.